Well, I'm Chuck Horton. I've decided to run because so many people have requested that I run. I'm born and raised in Duluth. I'm 49 years old. I spent 8 years gone from Duluth, and that was when I was in the active military. I was in the Army. Traveled all around the world, got a very good world perspective. I was very fortunate to see Asia and Europe and of course, you know, the Middle East, but the Middle East wasn't sightseeing. I did a tour of Iraq when I was over there, and I was with 141 Infantry. I was in the Scout Platoon, which is the unit that was pretty infamous for, we got fratricized by the Apache helicopter. Got home, went to work for the railroad, the Mesabi, hauling taconite out of the mines up north and spotting them down there and loading the ore ships. Worked at the LSPI paper mill when I first got back, did both of those jobs. Saved my money from those jobs, started Horton's Gym, did a lot of guerrilla marketing with Horton's Gym. We started out as just a sole proprietorship, but then everything, you know, got so big and very quick. We had some great success. We had to turn it into an S corporation because, you know, we were worried about liability, as I'm sure some of you business guys know. So we had to run that. We had to do, my wife and I did all of our own work. You know, we did our own corporate taxes, our own payroll, you know, all of that. So I've had some great success in the boxing world, not just with training champions, but creating good citizens and turning kids' lives around. And I feel very fortunate for that. I feel like that was my calling, you know. I'm not gonna lie, when I got back from Iraq, I had a little bit of anger issues. You know, being fratricized really frustrated me real bad. It caused a lot of problems for me, you know, with trust issues. About 5 years ago, I was on Facebook, and I got a link. From a video that was posted of my unit being shot by the Apache. They posted it on YouTube with all my knowledge, and I'm not gonna lie, it spun me out for a little bit.
Wow.
So a lot of anger issues there, a lot of like frustration, a lot of trust issues. You know, they say to be here, and we went to a position, and it was just say it's a bad night, you know. And when your own forces shoot at you like that, and then they try to cover it up, it's pretty brutal to deal with. So gave the gym. You know, I continued with the pros and stuff like that. Worked on my own issues, dealt with some stuff in my past. Came back, gave the gym to Zach to help the kids continue the goals that we set for the community. And Zach Walters has done a fantastic job. You know, I just love that kid. I mean, he's just, there's so many kids like Zach Walters, guys. There's just so many that we've helped, and to see that process and him happily married, and it's rewarding. You know, it's really rewarding. When I first started coming back to the gym volunteering with the kids, I noticed an issue that was really bothersome to me, is the amount of hard opiate drugs that are in our community. Bad. Absolutely horrific. So I said, okay, let me and Zach, we're good at like dealing with some stuff like that. So we took a hard look at it, and we went to go to some of the kids' homes, and we saw it with our own eyes, the amount of heroin that is in our community right now. Did a little tour of my old neighborhood, got heavily involved in organizing some neighborhood watch groups, and been working with more than one person on how to deal with this and how to get them out of your home. Once they're in, it's difficult to get rid of them. Once they're entrenched like that, heroin is really, really difficult to get out of your community. As a guy who's traveled around the United States in tougher towns in boxing, I have seen many, many communities destroyed by heavy drugs. And to see it in my own community was a real shocker to me. Especially years ago when we were warning that this was coming. Like, you know, this is coming, guys. You can't create, you can't put a methadone clinic in your community when we didn't really have a heroin issue at the time. Methadone clinics don't work. There's 11 in Thunder Bay right now. Do some research on our city just up north and see how terrible Thunder Bay is doing right now. It's not the same small Canadian town that used to be a mirror image of Duluth that we know. It's rough. They've turned into almost the murder capital of Canada, just up the shore from us. The methadone clinic created a lot of problems. Now we have an influx of heroin coming into our community. We also have a lot of people that are escaping from really terrible situations. You know, I know the communities that the influx of people are coming from. I've been to Chicago many, many times. I've been to Gary, Indiana. I've been to Detroit, Benton Harbor. My family's from there. I mean, I have cousins in every one of those towns. And I know how tough they are, so I just assumed, you know, the ones that are coming up are going to be tough as well. What was the end plan? What was the end plan? When we allowed so much to come in, how come we didn't sort some stuff out to where we had the resources there to deal with, you know, because you know they're trying to escape tough situations. We should have had better forethought in how to help them, you know, to set up the programs and have a long-term plan. That is one of the issues why the drugs are so bad. The other issue and as you guys know, I've discovered, you might know, I discovered the Spirit Mountain issue. I see how the lack of our administration right now, I don't know how to, the exact wording would be, some of the city councilors and administrators, they have no practical or pragmatic experience. You know, as an old railroad guy, I was really curious on how they were going to cut the line on the Burlington Northern. So I saw that we were giving money to the Burlington Northern, or to Spirit Mountain, so I wanted to go check it all out. I wanted to see, I had interest in how those pump station was going to push the pipeline up. I was legitimately like, okay, this is going to be kind of a neat, it's a great idea. Went out there, walked the line, walked Spirit Mountain. I thought, how come you guys haven't cut through the Burlington Northern property yet? Walked down there, talked to the crews. They didn't have the proper easement, as you guys read in the paper the other day. So I called Peter Passy. I said, okay, you're an investigative reporter. They know how to get to the bottom of stuff a lot quicker, and they know how to make the phone calls. And gave that information to Peter. He called me back. I said, is this true, or is this just a rumor? He called me back, no, it's true. So $6.1 million, okay, down the tubes, okay. They say, oh, we're not going to have a problem doing it. We're going to finish it next year, maybe. Well, then Dave Montgomery, okay, gets in the paper and insults Burlington Northern by saying they're archaic, they're hard to deal with. You know, those are his quotes in the paper. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't show up to a business deal when you make a mistake and then ask for forgiveness by insulting the people that you just don't start off that way. You know, you come there humble and say, how can we rectify this? That's not what happened. So it's just frustrating with me. So now I'm very curious on if we're able to do that deal. What are we going to do, and how much more is it going to cost the city to tap us back into city water? Where are the pipelines stopped, and where do the lines have to go in order for us to get the city water? How much more is that going to cost? That's 6.1. Okay, I started looking at the budget, and it made me think, if they're wasting money like this left and right, and there's no, who's overseeing? Who, if the administration, it's the mayor's office to oversee these programs, or oversee his department head to make sure that this, where is the accountability? How much more has been wasted? I looked in my own neighborhood. I walked up Hawthorne Street, and I saw that the road is just waving like that, you know, and that was after the flood. So I walked up there, looked at it. I had a friend send in some email to the mayor questioning, why is this road not done? Who's monitoring this? Do we have any contracts in place for warranties and guarantee someone's work? Pretty simple, right? Like if a construction company went to come pave my driveway and there was a hole in my driveway within 6 months, guess what? That construction company would be out here fixing my driveway. I guarantee it. It's just not good business. How come the city can't make sure that happens? I was curious. Had someone send an email as a concerned citizen. Well, the email came back from the mayor's office stating the fact that, well, it's not the road, so the person that did the contracting, it's not the road's fault, it's the sewer system underneath it. So we spent $1.6 million putting nail polish on a road, which was supposed to fix it. This is a dig out. This was a very, very intricate work. Shut the city down, shut that road down for a long time, dug deep. How come the sewer system wasn't fixed? Why did we spend $1.6 million knowing that we're going to have to go back on that? These are just, I'm not in an office yet even, and I can sort this out. It just doesn't even make sense to me that the citizens of Duluth are tolerating this. It's frustrating, you know, especially when you got people driving up their roads, you know, it's dangerous on some of these roads. You know, you go over Wallace, it's like driving on a roller coaster. Just to name a few.
Right.
So then I thought, okay, let's look at the budget. Why aren't we dealing with, why are we so broke? The Duluth, from what I could find out, has 17 full-time attorneys on staff. 17. Okay, the city of Superior has 1. Okay, I realize we're a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger to have 17 attorneys on staff. So I question why, if we have this many attorneys on staff, how come one of them didn't look at the easement? How come one of them didn't look at the Burlington Northern and say, okay, whose job is that to look at contracts and making sure that the permits and stuff like that goes all the way through? And like I said in the paper about Spirit Mountain, in the Army we were taught about reverse planning. Most businesses work in reverse as well. You look at the end goal and you plan your way into reverse. You know, that's the end goal. How come the city didn't even think about that? You know, I have a feeling when hopefully I get in, and if I do, I'm going to uncover a lot of different things, and we can fix it. We can sort it out. You know, there'll be no longer a department head negotiating or speaking for the city of Duluth. It's not the way to do business. The mayor should be on top of that stuff. Case in point, years ago, when I was still running the business, a good friend of mine asked me to sit down and mitigate between the tribe and the mayor's office. So Morris Ojibwe, who is the GM of Fond du Lac Casino, and is a very highly respected elder from the tribe, asked us to come in, you know, to sit with Don, just to mitigate, and, you know, as friends, and say, okay, let's see if we can sort this out, and kind of give a warning order, you know, like, here's what's happening if we don't get this stuff sorted out, the city contract with the casino. So we all got suited up, we're all, you know, all the boxers. You know, I wrote a very good article on it in chuckhorton.net. It's called My Anishinaabe Neighbors. Feel free to check it out. We recorded everything. We went there. We said, okay, we're going to have some issues. The casino was having issues for a lot of different reasons with the city. Some of those issues being things weren't being taken care of. Roads weren't being repaired. Money was being used for other projects, or instead of the road repair, just like the casino wanted the road repair. There was a skywalk issue not being dealt with. It was about them feeling like they're being froze out, not being able to purchase the North Shore Theater. Our idea at the time was for them to purchase the North Shore Theater and take it off the city coffers, so it wouldn't be a money pit like that. And so they could put a skywalk and connect that, and then they have the Carter Hotel. That was what we were hoping to do, or to push the plan. I thought that was a good plan for the city. Well, not only we were pretty much insulted. I left the meeting feeling embarrassed, like this stuff is going to be handled in court, and I thought to myself, you are not going to win this litigation in court. I mean, you're not going to beat a sovereign nation in federal court. I pleaded. This is before Karen Diver was even on the tribal council, hoping that we could, they could find a way to get a win-win situation again. It was an upside down deal. Okay, it was upside down. We were insulted, basically. We were ignored. Things were going to be handled in court. We got up and left. And then, of course, where all that stuff happens from there. How much millions did we get thrown down the drain by not brokering a deal right from the beginning when we had an opportunity to do that? We had an opportunity to come up with a different deal, a win-win. Let's sort this out before but no, we chose to play hardball in a case that we could not win. We have 17 attorneys on staff, and not one of them were utilized to litigate this deal between the city and the city and the tribe. So I question, what is their role? Why do we lose millions of dollars in a win-win situation which was our partner, not only our business partner, but our neighbors? And I tell you, I'm a little frustrated at this paper, because my biggest concern was watching how my Native friends were treated the whole time this was going on. For years we had it almost beat about the racism, about how we treated our Native neighbors. We almost had it beat, guys. We're never going to beat racism. Let's face it. I've been on the forefront of that for a long time. You're never going to beat it. But we were doing so much better. The stories that were written or be allowed to be published from the city about, the tribe attacking the tribe. I think it caused issue, and I take issue with that. Both stories should have been reported in more detail. That's my opinion. So now it's played out. How do we go from here? Well, I said from the beginning, I have a unique relationship with some tribal members. I have a unique history with the casino. I can help broker a deal. Right now there's no deal. They wanted to come in with something, and so far we said it's all or nothing. You can't do that. You can't force something down someone's throat, especially when they lost by a judge and we're throwing millions of dollars. How much road repair could have been done?
Let me jump in quick.
Sure, go ahead.
There's a lot of things you're saying that I could probably counter, but anyway.
Counter.
If it's illegal by federal law for the tribe to share casino revenues, what kind of a deal could be brokered?
Initially, when we sat down with
they by law cannot share.
That doesn't say they can't contribute to the city, or they can't pay for goods and services that they get from the city. Are you with me there?
Sure.
So there you go.
Okay.
It's really that simple.
We limit these to a half hour also. I'm sorry,
Sure.
we're almost 20 minutes already. There's a couple issues we definitely want to touch on.
Sure.
You touched on tribal relations. That was on our list for sure. Street repair, we've lost $6 million a year from the casino revenues. And you talked a little bit about street repairs. How can we fund that?
I just told you, gave you tons of examples.
Okay, that's fine.
Tons of examples. And I hope that we don't bring up the $6 million revenue that we lost with the casino once again, dragging that in there.
But that's not the question he's asking. He says, starting today.
Starting today?
Starting with your mayoral, your first day in the mayor's office.
Sure.
How are you going to fund it from that day forward? That's
Well,
the question.
Thank you, John, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I
Okay,
was providing context with you.
okay,
Go ahead.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, well, we talked about the, just some of the money. Let's look at the budget. You know, I'm gonna have to look at all of the whole budget, and there's money coming in there. I think, let me see if there was $281 million projected on the, is it 281? I don't have the number in front of me. I don't have the benefit of bringing my notes with me. But it's $281 million projected for the 2015 budget. I'm thinking we can do some pretty good road repair with that if we're careful not to waste it on other projects.
Where are we wasting money now? You mentioned a lot of attorneys.
Well,
Did you cut the attorneys off?
well, you know, I'd have to see what their jobs are.
Okay.
You know, case in point, I also believe the first thing that we need to do is, and I've already started looking for a company that can lease Spirit Mountain from us. I want Spirit Mountain to be leased, and I want Lester Park Golf Course to be leased, both of them. I want them. I want to keep that.
So privatized, you mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
but not. I want at least. I want that. I want us to maintain ownership of that city property. I think it's very important that we do. But I believe it's equally important to get someone in there that has good business sense that can start saving us some money on that.
Isn't that already happening out at the Lester Park Golf Course?
No,
I thought they have a management company out there running that now.
not the whole course. I thought the management company was just handling the liquor sales.
No.
Am I
The
mistaken?
whole
They're running
course.
Yeah.
both Inger and
And
Lester.
if I recall
And there's
correctly,
one.
they're actually doing rather well with
Good.
that management
Yeah,
company.
Billy.
Well, there you go. There's an example. You know, I'm not a golfer.
No, neither am I.
And that's also, there's a similar process.
I am, so I know
Yeah.
what, I know who's running.
Is it running good?
Yeah.
It is running well, yes.
Good. And how was the comparison between when the city ran it to the management now?
Well, there was a management company prior to this,
Yeah.
and what they've done is switched to one called Billy Casper, who has nationwide experience.
Okay.
And they brought their plan into it, and they seem to be on the right track. I mean,
Good.
it's early, it's their first year, but
Yeah.
things are better in a lot of
Moving in the
ways.
right direction.
No matter who's running it, I mean, if the weather's bad, the weather's bad.
That's right, you're gonna
It doesn't
get-
Yeah.
matter who's running it,
That's
you're not gonna
right.
make money. So I'm the
Yeah.
same way with Spirit Mountain, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah, that's true.
But as long as we're on these sorts of issues, let's talk about the library quick.
Well, as you probably all know, one of my opponents announced in front of the library. And that was really what made me jump off my chair and say, you've got to be kidding me. You know, okay, I'm going to run. You've got to be kidding me. $35 million for a library. I just couldn't get my mind around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating over the years to watch them tear down perfectly good buildings that are historical as well. I look at the West Duluth Library. I used to spend a lot of time when I was a kid in there. That was a beautiful building, you know, a big brownstone building. There's a West Duluth Library now. There's a library, you know, there's libraries all over. I can't see spending $35 million on a library. And I, for one, was insulted because I like the design of the library.
Sure.
I think it is very reflective on the citizens of Duluth. We are a shipping town. We should embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my dad worked on that library. You know, he was one of the construction guys there, and I love it.
Well, I'm sure you've read the engineer's report then on this challenges at the library. What would you do? What
Did you
should
hear
be
the
done?
counter report too? Like, there's challenges on any city building that we have.
Great.
It's hard for me to say what I would do on it right now, but I don't think we have $35 million to spend on it. That's for sure.
Sure.
I also the story I've read is also that there wasn't as much challenges as it was being portrayed. John Ramos wrote an interesting article on that and to counter that. So, I mean, I know he's a competitor of the paper, but you know, it seemed to be well sought out and cited pretty properly. So,
Let's talk about housing. There have been a couple of housing forums identifying a need for affordable and workforce housing. Do you agree there is a need, and is the city doing enough to address it, or what can the city be doing to get at that?
Well, I question a lot of the studies that have been done, because since I've been campaigning, I've been doing a lot of guerrilla marketing. I've been placing a lot of my own signs, and I'm seeing in my old neighborhood, I'm seeing tons of for rent signs everywhere. Now, I don't know what would quantify as affordable housing. I would say, you know, it'd be a percentage of income, but right now, some of the housing that we're providing is being free. You know, it's free to people, and you know, that's okay. I'm all for helping someone, you know, giving a hand up if they need it. But what's the end game of how long they can stay in there, and what are they going to do to help themselves? I think from what I've heard, we've actively recruited people to come into our community because we need a certain base to keep our LGA flowing in. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at my own studies. I question a lot of the city studies that have been done because of this library, because of Spirit Mountain. You know, I can put together some graphs and some bars and the pie charts and show you, you know, and show you some sites and studies too.
Sure.
I mean, pretty simple, you know. That's like playing 3-card monte.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to put the cards faced up so the whole city can see them, instead of like, guess which moving target we have to spend money on. There's a lot of transparency issues that need to be dealt with the city. It didn't take me long to find out about Spirit Mountain, did it? I'm not even sitting in office.
Mm-hmm. Would you not have started on that project at all until that easement was secured?
I think it gives us pretty much egg on the face to jump into something like that unless you have the permits and everything in place. I mean, you know, you don't start digging and doing the work until, I mean, now we have all that work done.
Is there any reason to believe that easement won't be granted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, can someone point out to me, railroads are difficult to deal with, like Dave Montgomery said, but if you deal with them prior, and then before you start working on their property, it's a little bit easier to deal with them. You know, now we're in a position that deal might be brokered. I believe in any deal being brokered, you know, but it's just at what cost? Mm-hmm. At what cost is that going to be to the city of Duluth now? We could have got that, maybe we could have done a better deal, but now we're coming in a position we have no leverage. No leverage whatsoever. So now we're asking them, you know, hey, please forgive us, and, you know, sorry for my city planner insulting you in the paper.
In closing, Chuck, why should people vote for you? It's quite a field of candidates. What separates you maybe from the others?
Everything. I am so different than anybody in this race that it's just everything. You know, born and raised here. Mm-hmm. Spent some time in the military, know about leadership, ran a business, and I'm the kind of guy that can get things done. And it's not going to be the usual suspects in office. The kids in this town, guys, really need some leadership. We're disappointing them. We're wasting money when we should be putting that into our parks and recs. I wish I would have been able to cover that more. Our parks and recs are just, you know, it's embarrassing. A lot of them are closed down, and then we wonder why these kids are turning to drugs and alcohol. Everybody in my neighborhood, you know, they're saying, well, our kids play lacrosse together, they play all these sports together. Well, kids in my neighborhood can't afford that. Hey, the kids that I grew up with, you know, in my neighborhood that I grew up, can't afford that.
Which neighborhood was that?
West Duluth.
Was that West Duluth? That's what I thought.
We've turned our back on certain parts of this town that when I grew up, Duluth never had so much as the haves and the have-nots. Okay? Now it's so much more, the haves and the have-nots. It's embarrassing. Our middle class is shrinking drastically. The only thing that our administration is building right now, or I can see in the foresight of the future of my other candidates are coming, is more tourism dollars. You know, I don't have anything against the tourism dollars, but we need to create some real jobs in here. And in order to do that, we need to create infrastructure and clean up the crime. Heroin is plaguing our streets. We have to deal with it, guys. Please do some research on me. I'm not just the boxer, okay? I'm not just the boxing coach. I've got years of experience. You know, I've spoken in front of international parliaments. That was the big reason Iceland boxing team was made legal. I mean, I have some experience, and I don't think my opponents do.